States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there any public comment on any matter not on our agenda but under the city's jurisdiction at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on to the minutes from April 15th, 2025. Those have been distributed to council members. Are there any corrections or additions to those minutes? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from April 15th, 2025.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from council meeting on April 15th, 2025. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried. Council has also received the minutes from April 29th, 2025, the public hearing and special meeting. Public hearing was on the draft growth policy for the city, and the special meeting was to approve a water sewer backup operator agreement. Are there any corrections or additions to those minutes? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion that we approve the minutes from the April 29th public hearing special meeting minutes.
Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from April 29th, 2025, covering the public hearing on the growth policy and the special meeting on the water sewer backup operator agreement. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you. Ms. Wishman, are you here instead of Lauren tonight?
I am, yes, she had a concert.
All right.
Yes.
What do you have for us?
Okay. We need to give you an update on what's going on with the tennis court project. We would like to extend it out, not just the tennis court, but also to the basketball court and that whole area. We have lots of ideas on what we could do there. Is that in the packet, that itemized list?
Yes.
Okay. It's not a firm set of numbers, but it's kind of close to what we're looking at. We want to make it ADA accessible. We want to make it safe for the kids. It looked like it was going to cost about $80,000 to paint it, which is ridiculous. So we're looking at getting the special paint, putting it on there ourselves with volunteer help, making sure that it's top notch. You know, we're not going to settle for second-rate look. And we also want to improve the basketball courts, so that would include like putting new backboards, new hoops, netting, different things. We received a trust board grant of $30,000. There's also some other grant money that might be coming in for it as well. So we just kind of put together a general guideline of what it might look like if you guys agree, or, you know, just kind of something to run with as far as talking points.
Fine, Mayor?
Yes.
This is a good summary. Is there a plan that has been seen by either the mayor or Eric Public Works yet?
I've talked with Eric outside of the meetings, just to kind of get some ideas on what he was thinking as well. And that's why I'm coming here, so that we can get the official approval or not, just to move forward.
I'm enthused with the idea, but all I'm seeing is a budget. I'm not seeing a plan. I'm not seeing a description of some of this is obvious. I mean, replacing a tennis court net. But it's like that $80,000 quote for painting surfaces. I'm assuming that that's for all the services, tennis courts, basketball courts, etc.
Correct. And then actually went to the trust board so that we can prove that they want a value for like kind, and in doing that, they were able to show that we had the adequate percentages, because they want to only pay up to 70% of the value of the upgrade.
Okay. courts in your experience?
No, no.
It hasn't been touched in 18 years.
Tennis courts are relatively easy to paint, basketball courts are more complicated. So I'm wondering whether or not that's something we think we can do with volunteer help.
Mayor,
Yes.
may I?
Please.
So,
do.
when I was at the trust board meeting, with Liz, and the same question was posed to him from the trust board. Not to speak too much for the volunteers, but they've looked into all this. They already know how it's gonna adhere, as far as drawing the lines. She brought up in our conversation the other day, they know that they would have to specially prep certain parts of it. So they've done their homework on what they have to do as far as that. I feel very confident that they never painted tennis courts, but they know the steps that they gotta do to get it done. I mean, and the reason I can say that is they stood before the trust board with that, so, yeah. So with that being said, don't make me look too silly, but I mean, they've done their homework on what they need to do as far as finding the paint and everything else. Cause the paint itself that they were looked at, I don't wanna speak too much for it, but just the cost of the paint was substantial, just to get the paint.
It's more than that, I didn't include the basketball courts on there, so it's approximately 7,000 probably, the number 2.
Oh, yeah, right here.
Yes,
So 3,800?
yes. But then some of the other things may or may not be needed. Eric was talking about possibly not needing the parking, curbs. And or like the cover, we thought a cover might be nice, but it's probably not necessary. We just threw a number in there thinking, you know, how many tarps would it take to cover it and sew them together kind of thing. We don't know if that's even something that is necessary or possible, but we wanted to include everything that anybody was thinking about to try to get a number there.
Yeah, I was curious about the, tarps. I mean, is it like a pool cover where you put it
That was-
over it after every use?
That was
or
kind of the idea, or
a
at
seasonal
least
thing?
probably seasonal, so that the winter won't stretch out those cracks anymore.
What are you asking us to do tonight?
We are asking for you to agree to let us call it the McCarthy Park upgrade instead of strictly the tennis courts, because right now it's the tennis courts. So we want to upgrade the basketball courts, we're looking at insulating and heating the bathrooms, just making it so that it's more usable for longer periods of time. So that we can put more into that park, that's what we're asking for.
How long do you expect the project to take?
I don't know about the, insulating and heating on the bathrooms, but paint project is probably a weekend, and it takes about 3 days to, adhere, and so the kids would be able to use it fairly immediately.
The whole project?
If I might.
Oh,
Yes,
please.
please.
Is your general goal to accomplish all of this by the end of the summer?
We would like to do it in June.
Okay, that's a
And
pretty
then-
good goal.
And then between, basketball and pickleball and tennis and whoever else wants to use the facility, it'll be upgraded and ready to roll. Ultimately, we were trying to get it done before tennis season, but they were literally scraping ice off of the court before they got to practice that day. There was no way to get even the cracks filled before the girls needed it. We did get the cracks filled already. And the 501c3 that we're going to use is Stoke. The trust board is going to put the money in the Stoke account so that it'll just be easier to transfer the money around for that.
So the ask before council is an expansion of the Big Sky Beak Leadership initial ask to include upgrades to McCarthy Park as generally delineated here. You had some questions, or Lauren had some questions for us.
Doug had a question.
Yes, Doug?
Rotary has a board meeting Tuesday night. I think we're gonna contribute, or we have to make a vote on
Yes.
$7,500,
Oh my gosh.
I think. Don't hold me to that number, but we We have that meeting on Tuesday,
Okay.
so, I'll know, like I said, I'll know that number, but I think that's what they came and asked for, so, but that's on the table.
And just so those of you who saw the councilman tip his point forward, he temporarily removes himself from the council to speak as the Rotary president. That's why he did that. He's back now. Thank you.
You know, just, thank you, Mayor.
Does the city have any funds to contribute, not necessarily at this time, into budgeting for next fiscal year, but in terms of providing, the public works crews some assistance? Eric can speak to that as, presumably council agrees to your request, as that becomes necessary. Can the city maintain the courts after the project completion? In terms of, it's a city park, there is some obligation to do that. How that might play out into the future, until the future is here, probably we can't answer that with any certainty, but certainly there is that type of an obligation. So the number 3 question was expanding the project. Number 4, can we put signage on the fence? Oh, stating to call the Broadwater County Sheriff's Office to unlock the facilities or retrieve lost basketballs land in the tennis courts. And that's an access question, right? Because unless you know to contact the sheriff's office to get the key to unlock the tennis courts, you don't know how to get in there.
Right,
Okay.
right.
And I think that makes sense.
Yeah, and in doing that, then we were thinking that the kids would have a great connection to the sheriff's office as well, because the sheriff's officer would come and retrieve the ball and, you know, maybe shoot a few hoops and visit with them a little bit. Just kinda seems like some positive PR for some of those kids who, you know, probably need a little bit of, pleasantries with the sheriff's office.
Are there any questions or comments from public right now? Yes, sir.
What kind of warranty is this material that you're proposing?
I don't know if there is one. I can find out about the paint. That would be the only thing that would be warrantyable. Eric, do you see any reason to have a warranty on any of it?
No, not necessarily. Even the quotes that I got as far as the paint, he wasn't willing to go much more than a year or 6 months due to our climate.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And we follow the directions for proper prep work to make sure that we, you know, got it as
Getting as
long-term as
much
we can.
lifetime out of it.
Yeah,
Well, it's never been done before, right, so we're all just kinda guessing how long it's gonna last.
right,
Okay.
right.
30 feet, 30 seconds, whichever comes first.
Perspective, Mayor?
Yes.
There's a significant difference between a warranty for professional grade painting and a warranty for a city park that's used by the kids. Professional grade painting, that's basically a yearly event where you're having to have very precise lines and very clear markings. The paint job itself, even in our climate, could last 3, 6, 10 years before it needs more paint, because it's merely being used by the public for convenience. So it's difficult to answer that question with a definitive, oh yeah, we're gonna get a 3-year warranty out of it. A lot of that depends on the use, and our use is specifically not professional.
I used to be a painting contractor.
Oh.
Shouldn't have said that. You might wanna get on, it is
I said that for a reason.
It is numbered.
And, I know that some manufacturers will not warrant if it's done, not by a professional. So,
That's a very good point, and
You
your
know.
point is well conceded.
but yeah, now you know who I am.
If you have a few minutes that you could coordinate with those good folks.
I'm looking for something to do for my retirement.
Perfect.
Oh, I have another agenda here too,
We will get your
you
number.
know.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
With that, does council have a motion they wish to offer here?
the McCarthy Park facelift on the tennis courts to include the basketball courts and those other areas that they proposed.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the request to expand the tennis court facelift to include McCarthy Park upgrades. Is there any further discussion from council? Any further discussion, comment from the public?
Can I
Yes.
ask one more thing? If that's a general list, are there things in there that you want adjusted, or how do we know exactly what we should be looking at getting?
I'm not sure about the tarp covers for the tennis courts. Because like you said, with the ice and stuff that warms, then you might just have some
Maybe
tarps
cool
iced
and
down
heated.
to the.
It's, they'll be adhered to the ground.
Right.
Yeah.
If I may, Mayor,
Yes.
so all these numbers came from who?
I Googled approximate numbers. John Odell is supposed to get, a bid from a place called Red Rock in Miles City. He is hard to track down, he is hard to pin down, so I've asked 3 times and I still have not gotten them. They're coming, but he's busy. So I got approximate numbers for, what quality outdoor equipment would cost.
And the big number that sticks out to me is like 10 grand for insulating the bathrooms and heating them. Was that just Google something, or was that a
That
pretty
was
close quote?
just the guess that I put in there.
That's one I would do a little bit, but if we get to that point, we're gonna do that, or whatever, you guys are, I would look at that, or have someone locally get a couple different.
Yes, we haven't gotten a quote on that yet. That was just a number I threw in there just because that was part of the project that we were considering.
It's awesome.
To clarify, the group's intention is to do this through their fundraising and grant writing without any financial commitment beyond staff assistance from the city. Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion is carried. Thank you and
for
good
your
luck.
efforts.
Thank you, everyone.
Yep.
Farmer's Market. Hi. You must be Sherry.
I am.
Okay. Do you have a presentation to make at this point?
I guess I can wing it, cause I wasn't really sure.
You don't need to stand.
Okay, I'm more comfortable
Okay.
seeing, but anyway. So the farmer's market is wanting to expand our operations to 2 Saturdays a month. And we would kinda like to do that somewhere in the downtown area, so that we can bring some business to the downtown folks. There's been a lot of interest in this, because I've opened it up to out-of-town people. So that means our Thursday, let me clarify, our Thursday market is Broadwater County only, vendors and folks. We wanna keep that way, and into the Wi-Fi part. But the Saturday market, we would like to do somewhere close off the main street, so that we can have more people in town. There's been quite a bit of interest in that from all over the community. I've been inundated lately while I was trying to recover, so I just quit answering the phone. But, the place that we found that was the best, and that was our opinion, not y'all's, y'all may have a better idea, was down on Cedar Street. We only need about a half a block, city block. And the reason we chose that is because we have more parking options there. There's the staff school parking on Saturday we could use, which is behind it, it is down 1 block. There's just more room for parking. So that was what we wanted to do. We wanna expand the market because we find that we lose vendors through the year because there's not enough options for them, and they go elsewhere, which is fine, but it's not. We would like to keep our local vendors local and give them options to be able to survive.
So the request is to close Cedar Street then from, North Cedar Street from Broadway to the alley, basically.
Probably, yes, probably not even that far, but it may grow there, so I need that ring to grow a little.
And that would be, first and third Saturdays, starting May 17th through September 28th, from 10 to 4.
Yes, we always close both markets down for the Rotary Club for the, Fall Fest. So we would close that down that week, and then weather permitting, if it's good weather, come back and do one more at the end of October, to the end of October.
Are there any questions from council?
Hey, have you talked with Reading Leaves about that?
I have. In the winter, we used her lean-to area and did a couple winter markets. Got too cold to do too many, but they were a pretty good hit. And the reason we did that was because you just get that momentum, and then it's time to shut down because of weather. We were able to use heaters in there and heat that little garage, lean-to area, and use that, which really helped. My goal is to see a Christmas market somewhere in Townsend, and that's only because I've been in Germany, so my husband's a vet, and we spent 5 years in Germany, and I went all over the state to Christmas markets. It was just the vibe, and the atmosphere was good. We did have some live music from our local guys in there, and some of their granddaughters that sang. It was really nice, and it was a pretty good hit, but we did that to try to keep carrying on, because then you go off during the summer. It takes, and I've got a spreadsheet, if anybody's interested, you can see, it takes almost a month to get the farmer's market up and running again. So I started checking around. Bozeman, has a winter market that they do it in their fairgrounds. Ours is so far out of town, I don't know if we keep the business out there, so. That was it's gotta be, if there's one thing I've learned, you gotta be somewhere where it's easy access. Or they're flying by and they go, oh, look, what's going on there? So, that was the proposal.
Nate?
I see, you said you need barricades, do you have a number?
Barricades? Oh, I wouldn't say more than 2, I just wanna block off that area, one at one end and one at the other. To where, I don't want anybody going through there if you have tents on both sides, cause that's a safety risk.
Right.
Eric, I would recommend 4, cause you know, if you put one in the middle, they blow right around them.
Right.
Yeah, you're
So,
gonna need 4.
You're gonna
Okay.
need 4. I also have something. Can you explain the liability insurance waiver signed by vendors?
So we have a form that we make our, vendors fill out, and they waive the liability. So if somebody eats something that's bad, it goes back to the vendor, not to the farmer's market itself. And that coverage is under the county from when the farmer's market first started. But everyone who is a vendor at our market has to sign a form. If you're in the food operations, that gets written down, the name, the person's address, phone number, and that list goes to Megan at the sanitarian's office. So her and I work every year together to do that, so that she has a list. But you're not allowed to sell anything if I don't have that form on hand and it's already gone to Megan.
But Debbie, so does the county have a copy of the liability certificate that we did get attached to the street closure?
I'm sure they do. I'm not aware of it, but I'm sure we do.
Does the farmer's market itself have a liability insurance?
Yeah, it's through the county.
Through the county?
If someone trips on the street and breaks their arm, there's no vendor that's going to be
Right.
attached, that's your liability.
Well, it's actually, from what I understood, I should have had Chris here because this goes back 15 years. It's a liability that we've got insurance coverage through the county.
I'm afraid I need the county to look into that and be very sure about it, because it's one thing where there's liability for a food consumption or a sales process that's gone awry, but you're the host, you're the one bringing people into this area, and if in the middle of all of that, somebody gets hurt and it's not attributable to one of your vendors, you're liable, not the vendor. And if you don't have liability insurance, then I'm
Right,
afraid you do
farmer's
have a
market
problem.
would be liable at that point. But that's what I was told was.
We need to look into
I
this.
need to look into it, and I tried you today, that's one reason I'm here. but I ran out of time. But I think they are listed, just like the, Lions Club Easter egg, as one of our events. On our insurance plans, but I cannot confirm it. Yes.
There are businesses on that corner that rely on the parking in that area. Is Rachel going to open her parking lot to general public parking for those,
She
during
said
this
she
time?
would, yes, yeah.
Okay.
Cause we figured 10 to 12 cars can park in that spot.
Doug?
The only other, I don't even know if it's a concern, school, that's a school access street, even though it's a Saturday.
Right,
Does that
they
get it?
could have some activities going on down there.
I would probably encourage you to have a conversation with them
I
if
will-
this
I
goes
will,
forward.
yeah.
Or approval that, hey, this is on Saturdays, cause we don't want that to happen, then
Right.
the school comes back to us going, hey, we weren't aware of this.
No, that was my full intention, I've been preoccupied the last 7 days.
I'm guessing they wouldn't have a problem, but the fact I just said that, they
Right.
could have.
Well, no, and I understand, I got grandkids in that school
Yeah.
too, I know they live at that school, cause it's activity after activity, but I would not impede on anything that had, if it was a school activity and it was a farmer's market day, the farmer's market would get canceled, cause I know how crazy it can get over there.
Vivian?
So, yeah, I had a couple concerns about, two of the businesses in that area. One being Helping Hands Kids, and that is their drop-off access back there.
Right.
You know, right there. And the other is the food pantry, and a lot of, people that come and pick up their grocery items and things like that also park in that area. And shutting that off at 10 AM conflicts with that. And so that is my concern. Have you talked to those two businesses?
No, I have not, but I will. I know that when we were there one other Saturday, there was a lot of dropping off going on, and I saw that.
I know some of their volunteers are at Helping Hands are a little handicapped as well, and they use that handicap parking area to go into and do their volunteer hours. So just.
I really don't, I think, well,
The food pantry's done by noon.
right, we can change the time, I'm flexible, we haven't,
Mhm.
nothing here is set in stone.
Yeah.
And obviously I put my foot somewhere before I had all my ducks in a row, not like me, but hey, I'm learning still. But this is my first year and I really stepped in it, but it's okay, I'm learning and we're gonna figure it out.
We appreciate your looking into it, we want to see it succeed.
Right.
You just happened to pick the one block in the city that, I mean, there's Broadway and then there's North Cedar Street that is second in line for congestion.
Right.
It's almost any
Well, and I
other
was
block
trying to
off
look
of
at
Broadway would have
that
been easier.
myself, and I was going, do you pick another road, or, but then everywhere I looked, it was like it was a bigger problem than that one, so.
I suspect it's the other way around. That one's
I'll have
probably
to go
one of the
check it
higher
out.
difficulties.
Yeah, people taking their garbage on Saturday.
Yeah, I don't see
Yeah.
That's a good point.
That's what I was
Especially-
gonna point out.
How people
Garbage.
with the Saturday, they dump it.
The container
Yeah.
sites at the end of the north of
Cedar.
Cedar Street. Although I'm not sure how many people are coming off Broadway to do that, I think more people come down Fourth to do that. Well, okay, there's at least one.
I have been there on a Saturday, and I did notice there was a lot of traffic early, like 9 o'clock in the morning. But then it died down and there wasn't anything.
If they were asking for just an hour, maybe two, this wouldn't be an issue, but you're asking for 6.
Well, the only reason, the farmer's market itself won't be that long. The farmer's market is only 3 hours. I was trying to think of making sure we got everything cleaned up, set up and break down, make sure we left it like we found it or better, So that was where that came from. But like I said, the hours are flexible.
Um,
Yes, me.
North Oak, might be a lot better.
That's a good idea.
So,
I mean, you have to check with the pizza place, cause they, although they own it, they don't own it, but
They actually don't.
Okay.
Part of that's actually the county.
Okay. in that.
So glad I showed up.
Yeah, yeah. By the way, since you're here,